Welcome back to another episode of the Modern Real Estate Mama podcast. Today, we are here with Taylor Johnson. She is from Texas. She is a member of our community, and I'm so excited to have her on as a guest. So, Taylor, thank you so much for being here. Could you give us just a quick little introduction about you, about just your background, your family, all that good stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me on. I'm Taylor. I am a real estate agent in the Houston, Texas area, born and raised. I have two little boys. They're crazy. And yeah, when you say like a little intro, I'm like, okay, I actually don't know, but that's a little bit about me. And yeah, we're just enjoying life and growing my real estate business over here. It's been really fun and an adventure, especially kind of seeing different cycles of it. I was licensed in 2021, so saw the shift, and it's been fun to just adjust. And so yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool. And so you said you were a native to Texas. That's pretty cool. I feel like I'm also a native to Phoenix, and I think some similarities we have in our markets is we've seen a lot of relocation and growth to our areas where it's almost like hard to find people who are like native to that area. Um, which I think is funny because there's just been lots of moving to some of these like metro areas over the last few years, and growing them into even bigger metro areas, which is always fun. So,
For sure. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of that too with just new job opportunities, and people are growing like out, but still working in Houston. It's been interesting.
yeah. Yeah, I just had some past clients actually move to Houston, but the husband works like pretty far central, I think, in your inner central hub, but then they live pretty far outside of it. And he's been trying to get used to the traffic and the commute, which he had a commute here, but I know for sure that his commute is worse there from what he's saying. And I'm like, ooh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the bad thing about Houston. You can live in Houston and still be an hour and a half away from Houston in traffic. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how it is here, but it's not like I don't think we're as spread out now. There's certain parts like when people say to me like, "Oh, they're looking in like Gilbert or Mesa." Those are about an hour to an hour and a half away from where I live because I'm on the opposite corner. I'm northwest, that's southeast. So I'm like, "Hey, I'm not going to be the best fit for you to work that area because I cannot be there. The fastest I can be there if I'm ready to go right now is in an hour and 15 minutes to like grab my stuff, get out the door. So it's always fun to learn about like different markets and everything. But I'd love to know like have you found your like ideal client or like who do you like working with in real estate?
right now, the past few years, my favorite has been first-time home buyers because as I'm learning, and that's kind of where I've been, it's really easy for me to connect with them.
Yeah.
Um, and first-time home buyer families have been really fun because that's kind of where I am. So, um, but definitely that niche has been, I guess, the easiest for me, easiest to
Yeah.
connect with. I'm there. Um, so that has been the smoothest for me and
Cool.
mainly where I've been working with. So
Awesome. I love that. And the great thing about that is that when those families go to like move up, typically, like if you have a really good relationship and you're established with them, they're coming back to you for that move up purchase. So that's really nice because a lot of people want to get into listings and when they're told early in your career, like list to last, but
mhm.
then it's like, okay, well, if you get in with the first time home buyers and you maintain the relationship, that will turn into listing business. You just have to play the long game when it comes to first time home buyers. But I do think that like they will tend to be more loyal if you can keep the relationship with them.
Absolutely. And I think I mean, I try to play into the listings last and target listings, but there was a disconnect for me. There still is. So
Yeah.
I will, happily take a listing, whatever, but I just feel like it's easier for me to work with buyers because it's just easier.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the thing with getting into listings is I just think it's more challenging, and you have to like it. I feel like for a lot of agents, it really does take like a few years, even more sometimes, to really build the rapport and trust
Yeah.
that comes with securing the listings. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just think that a lot of agents feel like they're doing something wrong because they're getting buyers or in those first like 3 to 5 years. And it's like, okay, but let's just really think about like they don't have an agent already typically if they're going from renting to buying. So if you can earn the trust with that first transaction, they could become clients for life if they stay in your area, right?
Absolutely.
And then that will kind of compound, and there's like a longevity to it that is really underrated, I think, in this industry.
No, I completely agree. I completely agree.
Cool. So I would love to know more about kind of since you've been in real estate, like your progression from being just a real estate agent, but also your experience with being a mom, because you've got young kids under 5. You've got your two boys are both under 5, or well, 5 and
Yeah.
under. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So
One.
tell me about that. I'm guessing your oldest was like a toddler when you got licensed. Like if I'm thinking about like him being in kindergarten and like the ages and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So with me, I had, when I first started, I just had my oldest and he was like 3 at that time. And I put him in a Mother's Day Out program. I worked when he was in Mother's Day Out. And at that time, we were actually in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
So for a little blip, I worked there. And then a year later, we moved to Houston. So I kind of started over from
Yeah.
scratch. And then I had my second. So we
Okay.
moved to new city, starting over. I was then juggling 2 kids. And for me, going from 1 to 2 was so hard. I don't know
Yeah.
what it was, but I just felt like I was going from one kid to the next. It was crazy. Um, and then but I relied on a lot of like homeschool teenagers to babysit. So that's kind of how we shifted from Mother's Day Out programs to just babysitters because it was cheaper to just,
Yeah.
yeah. My husband also worked from home at that point, so I had a little bit of a cushion to just, especially working with buyers, to just piece out. Um, and so that's kind of how we juggled the day. My
Yeah.
husband worked from home. I got babysitters that were like homeschool teenagers because during the day it's kind of hard to find babysitters. Um,
Yeah.
so that was awesome. And about when we moved to Houston, that's kind of when I created like the planner too, because I needed a system that helped
Mhm.
organize my day as well as my real estate business. And I just like the transition from 1 to 2 was so hard for me.
Yeah.
So that was like a way for me to just get my bearings again as I start over, learn to be a mom of 2, just really regroup. So
Cool. Yeah, I agree with you that 1 to 2 was a real hard transition. I really struggled, and my youngest is about to turn 4 in a couple of weeks, and I started telling my husband that, and I don't think I realized it when I was in the middle of it, but I don't feel like I started to be like feel like myself again until when he was just over 3 years old.
oh wow.
And I'm like, I don't know what happened, but I was like, and it was just rough. And so I had everybody telling me 1 to 2 is so easy. It's not like you're changing your whole world. And it's like, yes, going from 0 to 1 for me was it like, I mean, it's just new, right? Everything is new. But I'm like having a 2-year old and then having a newborn. And then by the time like your newborn is needing you all the time, like then the toddler needs help going to the bathroom and you're potty training, and then the one is crying and then they want to both be held. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, it's just that was rough. And I'm like, I don't know whoever said 1 to 2 was easier, but y'all are
Lot of
lying.
nanny. I don't know. They had a lot of help. Yeah. Because then my oldest stopped napping. So then I
Yeah.
lost that nap time too. And I'm like,
Yes.
wait, when am I supposed to work? Like, when am I
Yeah.
supposed to shower? It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like,
Can you tell me more about the Mother's Day Out program? I've never heard of that before. Like for the mom, I think it's really important that the moms in our community know that they can get creative and to have options that maybe they don't know about or maybe that don't look like the typical like daycare option. So I've never heard of Mother's Day Out. So if you could tell us about what that is, I think that would be really interesting.
yeah, so I guess I didn't realize that it might be a local thing, but several churches in our area, like Methodist and Baptist and just other denominations, they hold like Mother's Day Out programs, and typically they're Monday and Wednesday from like 9 to 2. And they take like toddlers to preschoolers, and you just send them. They do fun lessons, they have activities, they do lunch, a little quiet time, but it's just affordable too. I mean, in our area, it's like 250 for a month, and then they go twice a week. So, but I guess I didn't know that it wasn't like a national thing. So that might be a local Texas thing. Um, but yeah, I'm sure moms could look to see if that's even a thing, or talk to churches and see if they'd start it. I'm sure that'd be a great way for them to get funding too, to help with their other programs. But
Yeah, so was it like you could just bring your kids, like did you have to be on the schedule ahead of time or is it like, hey, this is the day that the Mother's Day Out program is. You can just come the morning of and bring your kid or like how did that work?
so typically you sign up like it kind of like a preschool, like you enroll them in January and then they start in August. So they kind of
Okay.
go with the school year. Yeah. When
Okay.
before that though, I did do like preschool swaps with friends. This was when we were in Austin and we were college in that graduate school. So we found other moms who had other little. So we did do like a little daycare swap. That was exhausting, but I mean, I got some extra time to myself. That was
Yeah,
cool.
for sure. I think it's just good to know that moms can be creative and that there's options and that maybe, you know, it doesn't look like your kid's in daycare every single day, but maybe you do the swap with another mom or something like that, that there's other options if you're kind of in those early stages with the babies and the toddlers, but you still need time to work on your projects.
Exactly. Yeah. No, the mom swap was great for that season, and then the Mother's Day Out program was great. Um, yeah, you kind of have to be resourceful and look for the opportunities.
Cool. So can you tell us about more about the planner and kind of, I mean, you said that you needed like the systems and the routines, but like how did that really come about to becoming something that it's an additional business and a product that you've now brought to the real estate industry?
Yeah, so when I made it, it was like a need for me. Like I needed to balance real estate and my family, and I didn't, I needed to keep it in one place. So, I made that, and then I realized that I'm probably not the only one. And so I did a pilot program in the area with local real estate agents, and they were like, "Oh wait, this is great. Like this really helped." Um, and then that was just kind of like the wheels kept rolling, and then I was like, "Well, then let's make this bigger. Let's help other moms in real estate, especially because like getting on Facebook and seeing comments like, "How do you do this with kids? Like, how do I manage my time? Like, when am I supposed to work on my business and be one-on-one with my kid?" And I was having those same problems. So then I just made it into a pretty product. Um, and um, so yeah, and then it just kind of became like bigger for me. I'm like, okay, I want to help moms juggle both, because moms wear a lot of hats, and raising their kids is so important to us, but also being financially helpful, especially in this day and age. Like, I don't think I mean, it's very hard to be just a single income family at this point for a lot of families. So it's like a necessity. So that's kind of how like my journey came, and it just kind of became something like bigger and a passion. And saw a need, honestly.
Yeah, I love that. So if you guys don't know, and if you're watching the YouTube video or you want to come watch the YouTube video, it is actually like a very beautiful planner. I have this on my desk, and you guys know that like a lot of us are probably a mixture of like needing something physical, but also needing digital. And so for me, I need a physical something constantly to be writing things down, but then I need to transfer, of course, certain things to the digital, to keep me like on my phone calendar and like on track and everything. But there's a lot of good stuff in here, including, KPIs, social media, kind of like planners and having your brand pillars and like your goal setting and everything. So I love a good planner to the point where like I will love multiple planners at one time, which is a little bit of a problem, but it is really beautiful and you guys should definitely check it out. I'll be linking it in the show notes. But it is a really beautiful product and I love that it's like very much having an entrepreneurial spirit when you can see something that you're struggling with and then you're hearing other women are struggling through the same things and being like, okay, what is something that I can bring to the marketplace that's not only going to solve my own problems, but like help the other women that I know are also going through the same thing and try to bring them out on the other side where because nobody wants to be questioning like, should I even be in this career? Is it too much to manage? Is it, that's like the worst place to be when you have a calling, but it's something that could be managed and maybe there's solutions to get them to the other side. So
Yeah. I completely agree. Like I don't like I want moms to be successful because this is the perfect mom job. You just need the systems
yeah.
to be successful, especially when they're saying like cold call and door knock and you're like, I have a toddler in my background, like I can't cold call, like it won't go well, I promise. So
Yes. Yeah, as I'm literally my kids are home today and you're talking and they're like knocking on the door and like, "Hey, can I have a paper to color on?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." Like not that they don't have a full craft cart out in the living room with them right now, which is another story, but it's
it's
like just not, you're like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to get a 2 hour session a day in with, until your kids are probably older, like 8, 9, 10, and or in school full time, which, it's like, it's just not, you got to work with like your stage of life and where your lifestyle is right now. And I think that's a big difference than what a lot of people are taught coming into the industry is like there's kind of one way
Mhm.
or like the right way. And then so moms feel bad that like they need to do their business differently. And the truth is that everything works. You just have to make it work for you and make it work with your lifestyle and figure out like it's not that it's not going to be hard or you're not going to have to put the work in, but you've got to be the one that's like cultivating how that's going to look and how the life and how your business are going to merge and make it make sense for both.
Exactly. And that's really how I had to make adjustments when I moved here to Houston. Like I found people going to parks. Like that was my KPI for the day. Like how many people did I talk to at the park? And when
Yeah.
I needed to follow up with a friend, I invited them to the park and it was an easy organic way to follow up where I wasn't stressing about did I call this person or it was a text, did
Yeah.
I text this mom and just see how she's doing? So it was very much tailoring it to where I was at. So we had a lot of park dates. I met a lot
Yeah.
of new families at the park, and that's just how I found a lot of my business, honestly, the first year.
I think that's great. I think it's the thing that I love about it is that at that point, you don't feel like you have to hide the fact that you're also a mom, which is something that I hear so often from either real estate agents that are becoming new moms and they're like, oh, well, now I have a kid in the mix. And like when you have your first, especially, it's like everything changes once that little baby comes into the world. Even if like certain things stay the same, it's like your perspective on it changes. Or the moms that are they're, they've already had kids, but they're coming into the business new and they're being like they're having these feelings like, oh, I have to hide that I'm a mom from my clients and like they can't know at all, or like I have to pretend or like, make it like almost like there's no evidence of the fact that I have a family. And if you're doing things that are natural and organic that way, where, it doesn't like you don't have to hide it. It starts working in where like your business and your lifestyle kind of like they commingle in a really graceful way where you're not feeling guilty that you're not spending time with your kids and you're not feeling guilty that you're like kind of, you're trying to hide your kids from your work and you don't have these expectations that your clients like think you have to be 100% real estate 24/7
Yeah.
because that's literally not possible. Like at some point in the day, you're going to have to take care of those kiddos and they're going to have to be around, your home, like you live with them.
Absolutely. And yeah, I felt like the people that I did attract and work with, they were so chill. They were like, bring your kid if you need to. Like, I totally understand. It's dinner time. Like they were just very accommodating. And, I may not have brought my kid, but it was still nice to know that I had the flexibility. Like I wasn't
Yeah.
set to these hard and fast ideals. I don't know what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say, but
Yeah.
it was really great.
Yeah. I love that. I recommend that like with moms especially that they do something like that where like they can like the kids can be involved too. So I think it's really cool when moms are like chasing their dreams and showing their kids what's possible because I don't think that there's anybody better that's going to show your kids and show them what's possible and like that they can also go after their dreams than the parents, you know? And if we can create an environment where there's no excuses, like we're not like being limited because of the kids, but we're doing it even more so so that they have those opportunities and the potential in the future, then they can see like, oh, well, I got to actually see firsthand, what mom was building or what dad was building or what like our parents were building. And I was right there front row. And so because of that, I know that I can go do what I want to do in this world. I can go after those potentials and those opportunities for my future and know that it can be done regardless of, having a family or maybe challenges that come up.
Yeah, I love that point so much. It's so true. There's no excuse, you make it happen. And like the kids, they want to hang out with us too. So let them help you stuff your folders and
Yeah.
put together your pot buys and drop them off at the doors. Like I remember we were advertising a listing and I had them put door hangers on everybody else's doors around the house and my kids loved it because they got to run
Yes.
around. I mean, I told them not to like ring the doorbell, but like they were able to like they did make goofy faces at the cameras and they just loved it and it was fun and they really
Yeah.
loved it. And I think they really appreciate that kind of thing.
Yeah. I also think I mean, it's really cool to see like just how excited that they get for things that we would just think are like super mundane and boring in our business too. Like I've also done the same where like I'm marketing, an open house for my listing and I bring what I've typically done is like I bring this little kind of like gift bag. It's not usually much, but like a little something more than like an invitation with an invitation attached to like the closest neighbors and then just invitations for like a little bit further out for a couple of streets. And my boys think that is like the most fun thing ever. And
Mhm.
they're so cute and they're like go like doing their little march up to the door and I'm like I would have thought this was so boring up until the point of bringing them and then it's like they're excited and I'm like, oh, it kind of brings new life to something that would just be like oh, I have to go invite the neighbors to my open house for my listing,
And it gets their energy out because these
Yeah.
boys, they're endless energy. So really
Yes.
one stone. It's great.
Yes. I agree. I saw your post the other day or like your story, I think of your I would say I think it was your youngest was like playing with mud right before you
Yes.
had to like leave the house. And I was like, I relate to this so much because my youngest just seems to always be covered in like something and at the most inopportune times.
Yes, he's like just always dirty. He always has a stain on his shirt, or he has no shoes, or a dirty face, playing in mud.
Yeah.
I can't. He's crazy.
Yeah.
So I get
Boys are fun, but yeah, I'm like I have a couple of friends that have little girls and it's just like when we hang out with them, I'm like, "Oh, is this what it's like having a girl?" 'Cause like this is not what my house is like at all.
Yeah, my kids won't sit down and color. Like
Yeah.
crayons must be broken and stomped on and thrown. Like they don't do the sit down coloring. That's just not a thing in my house. So
My son, my oldest, just like recently, I would say within like the last like 6 months, has got into coloring. So I'm like, there is hope. He's almost 6. It took a while, but I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I at least have a little bit of an activity. But yeah, the boys they're just the energy and like that everything becomes like a WWE Smashdown in our house, like, or SmackDown or whatever that is. I don't know. Is like, I'm like, oh my gosh. This is nuts. So, I would love to know, like, what do you think? What are some future goals you have, like, for your real estate business, for the Mompreneur Planner? Like, I would love to hear kind of like your vision and your hopes for like maybe the next couple of years ahead of you.
yeah, so with real estate right now, been the past few months I've been referring out to my local friends just because it's been chaos over here. But planning on getting back into that. Um and with the Mompreneur Planner, like I want it to just help as many moms in real estate as who need it, who
Yeah.
need the paper planner, the systems. I would love to expand to just maybe make a more general entrepreneur so it's not capped at real estate. Because I know that mom entrepreneur is a growing thing, especially in our day and age. And
Yeah.
moms deserve to build a business that they love and raise their kids that they want and not feel like a failure and have the mom guilt and be able to create systems and boundaries and let go of the guilt. So, I know that's a big need. I would, that's my hope and my goals and my dreams to just knock that out so that moms can be empowered and do everything
Yeah.
that they want to do. So yeah, I just right now it's kind of a juggle between growing this business, keeping this one
Yeah.
afloat for a minute
Yeah.
and then go back. I guess hiring out, that's the answer, but
Yeah.
stay there.
Yeah.
So time and season.
How much time is going in, like, for an average work week for you right now? Like, how much time is going into growing the planner company and like, how much because I don't know. I imagine like your sales are going to be somewhat seasonal in certain aspects, but then you also want to bring in the people in between that still need a planner. Because I know like the most frustrating thing is if you go to like a bookstore in February, you cannot like, well, at least you used to, you like wouldn't be able to buy a planner anymore. And you're like, gosh, like, well, what if I realize I need a planner right now where I'm at in my business and like I still need it for the rest of 2025 or whatever year it is.
And I hate wasting months too. I know
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
so I spent about 10 to 15 hours. Right now, my husband's gone all the time.
yeah.
And so that's really put a wrench in a lot of my plans because it's like a new thing. So a lot of my work has been on the weekends when
Okay.
he's home and during nap times in the week.
Yeah,
So really that's kind of where that time is spent. Um, when he comes home, I'll be able to, you know, work a little bit more, but um yeah, right now it's about 10, 15, 20 hours if I can get a babysitter here and
yeah,
there throughout the week. But then yeah, it is seasonal. Like the end of the year is pretty heavy with the planner, um, which makes it nice. So if I am busy in the summer for real estate, it's kind of like off. But yeah, we're still trying to figure that out, learn as I go with that one. Not quite sure, but right now I'm referring a lot of work for real estate and learning how to launch a planner because that's new to me. That's new territory. So
yeah.
always learning.
I imagine it's just, it's like you have skills, I'm sure that translate. I think skills that you have from like any career, any business translate. It's just the application and then learning kind of like the nuances
Yeah.
of that specific business for sure. But that's I mean it's exciting to see. I'm looking forward to seeing, the growth of your additional business and kind of how you find the mix and the balance of the the planner company with your real estate business and like how you end up, working that all together. Because I think all of us too, like we have our own goals and it's going to look different for every single mom, whether a mom is wanting to like open an additional business or like a side hustle, kind of that balance and that mix is going to be different, I think, for every single one of us, just based on that, the goals alone, but also kind of, you know, time available, family structure, how much, our partner may or may not be in the home and all of that good stuff.
It's always changing and it's like season by season, honestly. So one season I might be able to hire out a lot, or, it's just me in the weeds. And, like you say, it just kind of depends on what's going on in your life. And I think that's also the fun thing about being an entrepreneur, especially in real estate, because like you said, like people are building teams or they're doing fun things to help real estate agents. So it's just the options are really endless, and it's really fun to see what real estate agents are doing to make the industry better, because there's so much room for growth and innovation and collaboration and community. It's fun.
Love that. So I would love to hear if you could give like a new real estate agent a piece of advice, or maybe a mom that, or like a soon to be mom that's already in real estate. Like, what is one piece of advice you would give to someone, right now from like where you're at, kind of like looking back at your career so far?
I would say the big thing is remember the time and the season that you're in. Put your blinders on. Your 1 year is not going to look the same as somebody else's 1 year or 3 year or 10 year. Like, focus on your business, what you're learning, and the little things that are moving the needle in your business, and just keep the blinders on, give yourself grace. Because we can do everything, or I'm sorry, we can do anything, but we can't do everything. So yeah, that's probably it.
Perfect. Where can everybody connect with you? Like, where's the best platforms? And if they want to, follow you, send referrals, or learn more about the planner.
Yeah, so my main Instagram is Taylor Johnson Homes. That's kind of like where I share like family and fun and a little bit of real estate. I'm not great at Instagram, but that's kind of the idea of what I'm supposed to share on that one. And then I have like my product page, the Mompreneur Paper Co, where you can find the planner. So I'm still figuring it out, learning
Yeah.
as I go. But those are the two ones.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I will link all of that in the show notes for you guys. Taylor, thank you so much for coming on and just sharing a little bit about your journey and real estate. And just, I think it's always good for moms to hear from other moms and like hear different stories, because each one of us just has a unique journey and, different backgrounds and everything. So it's good to hear other voices, other stories, and just, hear from other moms in the business. So we appreciate you.
I'm glad to be here. It's good talking with you too, because yeah, I agree. Moms need the community.
Yeah. All right, ladies, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Modern Real Estate Mama podcast. If you are not a part of our Facebook community, just search for us on Facebook. That is kind of where the main everything else is at. So if you want to connect with other moms, we have, I think like 1,100 moms in the group now, which is super exciting. So come connect, find referral partners. You might find a new online mom bestie, and we will catch you on another episode.